Well, shopping has changed for sure over the last couple of months and weeks. And if you haven't been into online shopping before 2020, well, 2020 just basically dragged you into it and you had to make it work. And there's been so many new opportunities that have opened up as a lot of these situations do kind of lend themselves to. I mean, there's been more delivery services, there's been more things happening online. And one of those businesses, I think, has been so fortuitous in its timing. And sometimes these things are ahead of its time, and sometimes these things are on time. But OneCart is a personalized shopping service that allows you to purchase from multiple stores within a 2-hour delivery window. It's one delivery fee. It's a single transaction, and they officially launched in 2018. How's that for timing? And they really kicked it off well in 2020. And to chat to me about OneCart is the interim CEO. He's Gladwyn Leeuw, and he joins me online. Gladwyn, great to have you on the podcast.
Great to be here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat about our business.
Well, let's get straight into it. You seem like a new face to the business. Maybe you can give me a bit of context there.
Yeah, so I stepped in July of 2020. See, it still seems like it is, because our founder, Linton Peters, had to step down because of health reasons and for the risk that COVID presented to a lot of people. And so I stepped in to help the business in its scale.
Well, I hope he's all right, and I hope he's on the mend and getting stronger for 2021. But as we talk about OneCart and only having been around for just over 2 years, for those people who are not familiar with it, just take us through how the business works in practical terms.
So, yeah, Linton's okay. First of all, he's actually stepped back into the business in an executive chair capacity. He's helping us. And as you can imagine, we've grown quite well. I know a lot of people use the word exponentially, but we really have grown exponentially throughout 2020. And you mentioned that we obviously started in 2018, but funny enough, actually started in 2017 to friends and family for the last 3 months of the year. Was a WhatsApp type of messaging service where somebody would say, listen, I need 10 bottles of water, and Linton would receive the order, give it to the other founder, Adi. He'd go and shop and deliver it. And I remember Adi talking about the business and saying that the first order they ever received was like during the water shortage in Johannesburg, where we needed to, everybody was just buying up water from everywhere. I don't know if you can remember that, but Adi went and bought like 100 liters of water, and he couldn't find just 100 liters at one store. He had to go to multiple stores to find it, and he delivers it to the customer, and he feels like such a hero. And he walks in, and the customer's like, okay, thank you, put it over there. And so, but anyways, OneCart is essentially a virtual shopping mall, if you can think about it. We've tried to establish the business intuitively the way you would shop. So, for instance, I live in SANDTON as well. I live very close to the Benmore Shopping Center, and so I would normally go into Benmore Shopping Center Park, go into Woolies to buy my fresh produce, go down to Pick n Pay to buy my non-perishables, go to Dis-Chem or Clicks for any of the health or wellness things that I need, exclusive books and the rest, depending newspaper, depending on what I need. And so what we've done is we've established that online. And what that means is you, from the comfort of your couch, can sit and go, what do I want from Woolworths? What do I want from Pick n Pay? What do I want from exclusive books? And we deliver it on one platform, one delivery, and OneCart. So that's how we've separated or differentiated ourselves.
And you've got a full-time staff complement that does all this shopping. This is not some sort of, as a lot of this technology goes, where people are sort of employed for themselves, but just use the platform, and then you sort of connect or broker the person who needs the product with the person who can provide the product. These people all work for you, and they are permanently based at these stores, ready to take your order.
That's correct. So we found that the gig economy is growing in South Africa and all over the world, but we needed people there ready and waiting. The consistency and the consistency of your supply is obviously very important. To tell somebody where to be, what time to be there, you have a relationship with them that's far beyond just the gig economy. And so we found that employing our shoppers and our drivers permanently is a better way to guarantee that service to our customers.
So, I mean, you've shown some remarkable growth here. I'm just looking at some of the numbers that I picked up on. I mean, the initial year, 400% growth, then 300% growth in 2019. What are those figures looking like for 2020? And I'm assuming they're probably looking even better than those numbers I've just mentioned.
So yeah, we are like I said, we experienced exponential growth. We went from February of this year doing 4,000 orders, if I remember correctly, to March all of a sudden 8,000, and then people started looking for us, and we weren't looking for them anymore. We went to doing 27,000 orders, and we just keep growing every month. And so where we're at the moment is that COVID gave people a reason to look at the e-commerce space, especially the on-demand food grocery delivery space. And so lots of consumers they were basically forced to overcome that initial inertia, that first mover type of distrust that people normally would have for the online space. And a lot of consumers then, like I said, start looking for us, and luckily we've given them a reason to stay with us. So we have seen a slight dip in order volumes as every level of restrictions start to ease up, as people generally want to get out of the house and go back to their routine. But quite a number of customers have decided to stay with us, and we're very happy about that.
One of the big and great challenges to have is when a business booms and it grows. But I think one of the things that people often underestimate is having to scale the business and still deliver on the promise that you promised right in the beginning when everything was working very well, and doing that on a much bigger scale. How did you guys deal with the influx of shopping and the influx of consumers that suddenly just arrived literally overnight?
So we did that. We tried everything within our power. We had 12 people in a very small office and a couple of hundred shoppers and drivers out in the field. And all of a sudden, we went to being a lot more hundreds of people. And essentially, we first labor sourced the work, the shoppers and the drivers from other organizations to try and scale. And I must tell you, at the height of COVID, we were a week behind on orders. But we managed to scale within a very short space of time. Had the labor brokers phase out while we had our people being employed full time with us. We had to get, if you can imagine, getting all of those cards. So one of the interesting things about OneCart is we pay at the till. So if you can imagine, it's getting all of those shoppers bank cards, because they don't use their own cards, they use cards linked to the OneCart account to make sure that we always have enough cash to pay at the till. And so getting all of those bank cards distributed, getting the people in the right malls, getting the delivery system scaled up. It took a lot of effort, and we are happy to say we've caught up. We're not perfect yet, because as many streams, and when I say streams, I mean the capacity per hour, because we have slots. The capacity per hour, as many streams as we open, that's how many streams get filled. And so we have a very, very good problem in the sense that we have too many customers looking for our service, but at the same time, we're trying to scale fast enough to start to meet that demand.
Well, and I guess at the same time, you're also dealing with having to make sure that all your staff, your team that's in place at all these different places was also, safe, secure, adhering to COVID-19 protocols, making sure that that sort of chain was also being secured at the same time as well.
Absolutely. So getting your what's it called, sanitizers in a time when there's no sanitizers anyway. So we're shopping for sanitizers, but we can't find sanitizer for ourselves. Having the masks distribute. So we're very lucky in the sense that because we work in the retail space, any store that you go into, you get your hands sanitized. And then our shoppers did that. But having their own personal sanitizer is very important for us to make sure that any goods that are packed into the basket is the person's hands has been sanitized and they're wearing a mask. and then having the driver wear a mask when they deliver it, or making sure that they have their own sanitizer to make sure that throughout the process we're protecting ourselves and our customers.
Well, I mean, you briefly touched on it. I think you've got a very good footprint in Greater Sandton. I mean, you were mentioning Benmore, you were mentioning, sort of the area that is Sandton. What is your expansion looking like beyond Sandton into the rest of Gauteng, the rest of South Africa, as if haven't got enough to worry about at this point already in terms of scaling in demand?
Yeah, so we have about 46 stores. So 34 of those are countrywide, being Cape Town, Durban, the rest of Johannesburg and Pretoria. And then we have a partnership where we have 13 Makro Mass Smart stores. So we also shop from Makros in the peri-urban areas, and we also have a partnership with Game now. And so we are expanding quite aggressively throughout the year, and we're hoping to be in 90 stores within the first 2 quarters of this year, and hopefully expand have a lot larger footprint with partners and ourselves.
Well, Gladwyn Leeuw, it sounds like you've got a massive task still ahead of you. And as 2021 progresses, it seems like it might be a bit of a continuation of 2020. So I think you've still got quite a bit of growth ahead of you. And thank you so much for joining us online. And I encourage you, if you're listening, if you're watching, go check out OneCart, give it a try. I think we're all up for new ideas and new ways of doing things. And it sounds like one of those exciting South African innovations that are taking off. And I'm looking forward to trying it out and maybe, changing the way I do my shopping as well.
Thank you so much, man. This is really, really, like I said, this is my first podcast. So really excited to be on your show. Please try out the business. And then I'm happy to receive feedback. We're always trying to improve our service for our customers. So we're not going to be perfect all the time, but we really try to achieve it every time.